early hours of November 13, 2022, a quiet college town in Idaho became the stage for a nightmare. 4 young lives, Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, were brutally extinguished in a home just off the University of Idaho campus. Stabbed to death in their sleep, their bodies were discovered in a scene so horrific it would send shockwaves across the nation. The questions piled up fast. Who did this? Why these students? And how could a killer vanish into the night, leaving no trace but blood? This is the story of the Idaho 4, a case that gripped the world, a mystery that lingered for weeks, and a suspect who, some say, was hiding in plain sight. Welcome to a Crimzcene, investigation, and a search for justice that's still unfolding. Before the darkness fell, these 4 were just students, bright, vibrant, and full of promise. Madison Mogen, 21, known as Maddie to her friends, was a senior from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. She was a marketing major with a contagious laugh and a love for her sorority, Alpha Phi. Kaylee Goncalves, also 21, hailed from Rathdrum, Idaho. Another senior, she was weeks away from graduating and had big dreams of traveling the world. Xana Kernodle, a 20-year-old junior from Post Falls, Idaho, was part of Delta, beautiful, outgoing, and inseparable from her boyfriend. That boyfriend was Ethan Chapin, a 20-year-old freshman from Mount Vernon, Washington, and a member of Sigma Chi. Ethan was known for his athleticism and easygoing charm. The 3 women, Maddie, Kaylee, and Xana, lived together in a sprawling rental house at 1122 King Road, a place students called a hub for parties and late-night laughs. Ethan often stayed over, blending seamlessly into their tight-knit group. But behind the smiles, life wasn't perfect. The house had a reputation: 6 bedrooms, a history of noise complaints, and a revolving door of tenants. Still, there's no evidence these 4 lived in fear. They hadn't reported stalkers or threats to police or the university. They were just kids, living the college dream, until someone shattered it. Let's walk through that fateful night. That's Saturday, November 12, 2022. Ethan and Xana spend the evening at a Sigma Chi party on campus, laughing, dancing, carefree. Meanwhile, Maddie and Kaylee hit downtown Moscow, ending up at the corner club bar. Around 1:45 a.m., they're caught on a Twitch livestream, giggling as they grab late-night grub from a food truck called Grub Wandering Kitchen. They're home by 2 a.m., likely texting friends or winding down. Ethan and Xana return around the same time. The house grows quiet. 2 other roommates, survivors whose names are withheld, are also home, asleep in separate rooms. Then, sometime between 3 and 4 a.m., horror strikes. A killer slips into 1122 King Road. There's no forced entry, no broken windows, no splintered doors. An open sliding glass door is later found. But was it left unlocked? The assailant moves with purpose, armed with a weapon police later describe as a fixed-blade knife. Upstairs, Maddie and Kaylee are attacked in the same bed, stabbed multiple times in the chest and upper body. Across the hall, Xana and Ethan fight for their lives on the second floor. Xana has defensive wounds, proof she woke up, saw her killer, and tried to stop them. Ethan, found on the floor, may have been caught off guard. The scene is chaos. Blood pools on floors, seeps through walls, stains the foundation. By noon Sunday, the bodies are found. One of the surviving roommates dials 911, her voice trembling. There's someone unconscious. First responders arrive expecting a medical emergency, only to walk into a slaughterhouse. Moscow Police Chief James Fry later says, "It was a targeted attack. The evidence tells us that." But what evidence? No murder weapon, no theft. Just 4 dead students and a killer gone without a trace. For investigation process. Tone shifts to procedural with a hint of frustration. The Moscow Police Department, small, with just 36 officers, faces a case unlike any in its history. They're outmatched from day one. The crime scene is massive, sprawling across multiple floors, contaminated by first responders who didn't know what they were walking into. Blood, fingerprints, and DNA are collected, but the murder weapon, a military-style knife, possibly a K-bar, remains missing. Chief Fry tells the press, "We're looking for that blade. It's critical." Local stores like Moscow Building Supply are questioned. Did anyone buy a K-bar recently? No leads emerge. Investigators canvass the town. They pull security footage, hours of it, showing Maddie and Kaylee at the food truck, a white Hyundai Elantra circling the area. Was that the killer? Police don't say. The surviving roommates are interviewed, but Fry is cryptic. They were there. I didn't say they were witnesses. Days turn to weeks. Tips flood in, over 19,000 by December, but so does criticism. Fry admits, "We cannot say there's no threat to the community." The FBI and Idaho State Police join the effort, combing through digital footprints, phone records, and forensic clues. Then, a breakthrough: DNA data sample from the scene, found on a knife sheath, doesn't match the victims or anyone in the house. That it's run through genetic genealogy databases, a cutting-edge technique. Weeks later, on December 30th, 2022, police arrest Bryan Kohberger, a 28-year-old PhD student at Washington State University, just 8 miles away in Pullman. That white Elantra? It's his. The DNA, a near-perfect match to his family tree. Kohberger is extradited to Idaho, charged with 4 counts of murder. The quiet criminology student becomes suspect number 1. Fast forward to August 11th, 2025, Kohberger's trial begins in Latah County, moved from Moscow due to overwhelming publicity. The prosecution builds a meticulous case. DNA from the sheath, cell phone pings placing him near King Road, and his Elantra caught on camera hours before the murders. Prosecutor Bill Thompson declares in opening statements, "This was no random act. Bryan Kohberger stalked these students, planned their deaths, and executed them with precision." The defense counters hard, and Taylor, Kohberger's attorney, argues there's no direct witness, no confession, and questions the DNA's reliability. Genetic genealogy is not foolproof. My client is innocent. Key testimony comes from Dylan Mortensen, a surviving roommate, who tells the court she saw a masked figure leave the house that night, carrying what looked like a vacuum cleaner bag, an odd detail still unexplained. Forensic experts confirm the brutality. Deep, forceful stab wounds, suggesting rage or training. On October 15th, 2025, after weeks of deliberation, the jury rules. Kohberger is found guilty on all counts. 4 life sentences, no parole. But he maintains his silence, pleading not guilty to the end. The courtroom erupts, relief for some, disbelief for others. The verdict brings closure, but not peace. The victims' families speak out. Steve Goncalves, Kaylee's dad, says through tears, "Justice isn't enough, I'll never hear her laugh again." The case leaves Moscow scarred, students move away. The King Road house is demolished in 2023. Media coverage explodes. Podcasts, documentaries, endless headlines. Public reaction splits. Some hail the police work. Others decry the initial missteps. Legally, it sparks change. Idaho bolsters campus security funding, and genetic genealogy gains traction in cold cases nationwide. But the emotional toll lingers. University President Scott Green reflects, "We lost 4 of our best. This wound won't heal." The Idaho 4 become a symbol of youth cut short, of a community shaken, of a system tested. Even with a conviction, questions haunt this case. Why these students? Kohberger's motive remains a black hole. No known ties to the victims, no clear trigger. Some theorize he was obsessed, studying them as part of his criminology research, a killer inspired by his own textbooks. Others whisper of accomplices, the speed of the attack, the missing weapon fueling doubts. Could someone else have been involved? And that vacuum cleaner bag, symbolic or a red herring? Without Kohberger's confession, these are just theories, pieces of a puzzle that may never fully fit. The Idaho 4 case is more than a crime. It's a mirror that reflects our fascination with evil, our demand for answers, and our struggle to protect the innocent. 4 lives ended in a flash of steel. But their story endures, challenging us to ask, how well do we know the people around us? How safe are we, really? As the sun sets over Moscow, the echoes of that November night linger, a reminder that some mysteries unravel, while others bury their truths forever. What do you think happened at 1122 King Road? This documentary draws from verifiable sources, including Moscow Police Department press releases, November-December 2022, Latah County Court Documents from Bryan Kohberger's trial, news reports from the Idaho Statesman, CNN, and NBC News, University of Idaho Statements, and interviews with Chief James Fry and family members published by ABC News. Full citations available in the description below.